Echoes of Vana'diel opens with you being summoned to Mamuk by Sareel Ja. They've requested your assistance, as curious things are abound in Mamuk as of late. They want your worldly experience to help make sense of things. They found a fallen Elysian traveler in the sky deep cenote. Thankfully, his wounds weren't fatal, but he speaks of strange things in his sleep that make little sense to the Sareel Ja people. She hopes you would be able to speak to him and maybe recognize something from his ramblings, or even jog his memory in the process. After taking a look at the stranger, you comment that he looks like any common Elysian adventurer. The stranger has a reaction and winces in pain, saying he remembers that he's an Elvan adventurer. He notices his caretakers are Sareel Ja, and assumes he's been brought to Mamuk, believing he's been taken prisoner. Sareel Ja believes the stranger must come from across the sea, as he so readily believes them to be enemies. Before you can prod the stranger further, Sareel Ja bursts into the room, calling for reinforcements. The shade of Gulu Jaja has returned, and Gulu Jaja has engaged it. In recent days, the Dawn Servant's shade has been wandering the woods. Sareel Ja believes it's been invoked in the same manner as the one from the trial. Only few Bunawal Sareel Ja are privy to the knowledge required to perform this rite. You rush to Gulu Jaja's location to find him beaten down by the Dawn Servant's shade and an Elysian girl. The girl attacks, but the strange adventurer rushes in time to intervene, saying he can't explain why, but something told him he had to be here. The girl seems to be under some sort of mind control, as she believes she's fighting monsters. She mentions her name is Prish, and the name causes the stranger to wince in pain again, distracting him long enough for Prish to get in a critical blow. Before she can take you on next, the shade says their work is done, and the two disappear into a rift. Gulu Jaja goes in after them, asking you to watch over the strange adventurer. When you check up on him, he reveals that he gets the feeling he and Prish used to be comrades in arms. But something's clearly wrong, as she mistook him for a monster and even called the Dawn servant Olmia. He recalls that Olmia is an Elvan woman. Something dark must have taken a hold of Prish. Regardless of what she has done, he knows Prish is a dear friend to him and asks you to save her in his stead. You enter the rift, taking you to an unknown shattered city, and at the end of the path you find Gulu Jaja, wounded, warning you that Prish is up ahead. Once you defeat her, Gulu Jaja picks up the knocked out young woman and follows you further into the rift, chasing after the shade. You fight in a series of locations and environments as if you're reliving someone's memories. Once you reach the end of the memories and defeat the area's strongest enemy, the environment begins to flicker in a familiar way, and you're teleported back to the shattered city. The young woman awakes from her slumber, surprised to see Gulu Jaja. You assure her that Gulu Jaja is friendly, and the young woman officially introduces herself to you both. Gulu Jaja thanks you for rendering aid, and the two of you introduce yourselves to Prish. You both wonder why Prish attacked the two of you in the first place, but she's confused, as the only things she attacked were monsters when she was protecting her friend Olmia. Gulu Jaja notes the incantations needed to summon the shade are based off of an older magic capable of clouding people's minds, so it's most likely such a trick is not beyond their enemy. It's very likely Prish was tricked into believing the shade was her friend Olmia. The only thing she can remember is that she was told a dear friend needed protection and was given equipment to fight. When she came to, she was alone in this location, the city of Juno. Together with you and Prish, you explore the city for clues and talk to its residents. But as you continue to gather some information, there seems to be some inconsistencies between you and Prish's memory of current history and events. While discussing, the wanderer from earlier arrives and thanks you for saving his friend, but Prish has no recollection of him. She says the wanderer looks like someone she would know but struggles to pull a name, and the wanderer struggles to give her one, as he doesn't remember. Gulu Jaja bestows him the name Ashal, standing for wanderer in his language, as they must call him something for now, and he gladly accepts. Soon after, things are interrupted when the mastermind behind everything appears before you and your party, Sareel Ja. He reveals that everything you see is an imitation, created based on visions of another world. After being thrown aside by Sareel Ja woke to find the Golden Gate's chamber empty, and the gate still open. There he saw his chance and drug himself across the threshold, only to find emptiness, a space beyond time. And in that dark expanse, he beheld visions of another world, the world of Vana'diel. By combining his ceremonial magics and the power of Electrope, Sareel Ja has given life to his visions. He plans to create the greatest ruler the world has ever known, by drawing upon the echoes of Vana'diel to summon the greatest beings it's ever known, and make their strength one with Gulu Jaja's shade. You warned Sareel Ja that you won't let him get away with his plan, and he commends your spirit, saying his preparation will take time, but once he's ready, he will call upon you to witness his greatness. He then teleports away, and afterwards, you and the rest reconvene at Mamuk. Although shocked by the fact that they're just one of Sareel Ja's creations, Prish and Ashal offer to lend their aid in stopping his plan. You and Gulu Jaja welcome their help, and believe it would be a great idea for the two of them to learn more about your world, until Sareel Ja reveals himself once again. While Gulu Jaja updates the Land's Guard on what's happened, he suggests you take your new friends to get tacos, as payback for the meal he spoiled when the two of you first met. He doesn't expect you to forgive him for everything he's done, but he wants to build a better future. While in Tuliolal, Prish confronts Ashal about his memories of her, as Prish was brought into being with all of her memories of Vanadiel complete, and she has no memory of him. He finds it odd as well, but his memories are still fragmented and disjointed. He believes it's possible he just heard about Prish's exploits from others. It's not a very good explanation, but the two decide to leave it there for now. And after letting Prish enjoy herself and sharing tales of past adventures, Gulu Jaja returns with troubling news. Rumors about the gate to Juno have circulated, and now treasure hunters are trying to search for it. You head back to Juno to find several treasure hunters in the area. Things seem fine until you notice that one was successful in finding a large block of Electrope. In order to keep it out of the wrong hands, you spend all of Gulu Jaja's savings to bribe its finder. And as Ashal inspects the stone, he comes to the conclusion that it was the heart of the Shadow Lord's echo you fought earlier, clued off by its aura of deep and bitter malice. A being of pure hatred responsible for bringing about the Crystal War in Vana'diel. Ashal mentions that he was part of the company that ended his reign, but Prish is confused again, as she knew someone who was there that day, and there was no mention of him. She keeps it to herself, and Gulu Jaja takes the stone into his safekeeping. Now that Juno is closed off from treasure hunters, the only thing is to wait for Sareel Ja to reveal himself. In the meanwhile, Prish and Ashal plan to adventure around Tyrol and learn more about this world. Time passes and you're once again summoned to the portal to Juno. After hearing its portal guards were attacked, you and the others arrive to find Gulu Jaja overlooking the bodies of some unfamiliar foes, orcs from the world of Vana'diel, known for their massive numbers and strength. After their bodies dissipate, it's clear they are more of Sareel Ja's creations. One of them dropped a letter addressed to you, to the Dawn Servant's champion. The stage has been set for your next challenge. Thus do I hereby invite you to Juno. Should you refuse, a horde of echoes will be unleashed upon Yaktel. The choice is yours. Back in Juno, you meet with the mad shaman and his shade once again. There he reveals your next foe, Kalmanat, Archduke of the Grand Duchy of Juno, and the last of the Zillar, the ancients of Vana'diel, existing long before the 5 races inhabited their world. Prish is surprised to hear that your world has a similar being as well. Your two worlds are more alike than she thought. Ashal mentions he knows that Kalmanat has an older brother and doubts Sareel Ja's missed that detail. Kalmanat is surprised he knows so much and is going along with Sareel Ja's plan in order to test his own strength. Before Sareel Ja can disappear, Prish asks him if she truly is just an echo, and he pities her as she refuses to accept what she already knows to be true. Sareel Ja offers to end her burden and quickly teleports Gulu Jaja's shade behind her and attacks. But Gulu Jaja dives in the way, taking the blow for Prish. Sareel Ja's disappointed in him, playing a hero to a heap of stone, masquerading as a child. My, how the mighty have fallen. He then tells you with Gulu Jaja wounded, there is one less distraction in his way. So he invites you to bring your all to bear, so that he may create the perfect vessel, the perfect ruler, and then he disappears once again. Ashal loathes to follow along in Sareel Ja's plan, but he refuses to let him have his way with the memories of Vana'diel, and asks you say the word when you're ready to chase. Meanwhile, Prish is staying behind to tend to Gulu Jaja's wounds. You then head to the second walk of memories, starting in the grand city of Sandoria. There, you fight your way through the Ronfar forest until you face off against the master of the Shijin. In the next walk of memories, you and Ashal are separated during your battle between Vana'diel's version of Omega and Ultima. And afterwards, you travel through Vana'diel's Quiffum Island, and at the top of Delphoot Tower, you face off against Kalmanat and his older brother, Eldinar. Once they're defeated, you head back to Prish and Gulu Jaja's location. There's still no sign of Ashal, but Prish is sure he's fine. Sareel Ja arrives to congratulate you on your impressive victory against the Echoes. He will gladly use this information he's gathered on the next selection of opponents. But Gulu Jaja wonders why he's going to such lengths to create the perfect ruler. He simply says that everyone deserves better than what that mockery of a contest produced, and soon the world will see he is fit to govern alongside a true ruler. But Gulu Jaja asks that he stop his scheming, as anyone who would usurp the throne would only be seen as a tyrant and a traitor. He is sure the Dawn servants will give him a second chance, as they've given him. Sareel Ja is disgusted by the change in Gulu Jaja, asking where the proud Mamul warrior has gone. Whatever bonds he's forged are merely an illusion born of convenience. He is nothing more than Wuklamat's lapdog, and when she falls, he will find himself a mongrel on the streets as he's always been. Gulu Jaja rises to defend his honor, but quickly falls due to his wounds. Sareel Ja taunts him further, saying it serves him right for trying to protect that thing. Then he cruelly reveals that his efforts were wasted. Considering the damage Prish's core took with the Dawn Servant's champion, she does not have long left to live. And then he teleports away. Moments later, Ashal appears from the second walk. He's fine, but notices Prish's horrified face and wonders what's going on. You update him on what Sareel Ja's revealed, and he understands. They are truly echoes, and any significant injury can wipe them out of existence. Be that as it may, even if he is not real, the love he bears for Vana'diel and her memories are, so he will keep on fighting. Prish agrees, and worrying about it now isn't going to get them anywhere. Later, everyone reconvenes in Tuliolal. Prish is happy to get some fresh air after the day's events, and this prompts Gulu Jaja to ask where she and Ashal were before everything happened. And they were exploring Yaktaral in search of signs of Sareel Ja and any information they could find on Electrope, but they were unsuccessful in finding anything. But Gulu Jaja informs them that Electrope is not native to these lands and comes from the Kingdom of Alexandria. If anyone knows anything about their situation, it would be the people of Oblivion. He then suggests they go on a trip to give them a quick visit personally. And on the way to Alexandria, you bump into a panicked father looking for his daughter. They were in the area visiting, as soon it would be their home, planning to move from Solution 9 to Tuliolal. But his daughter suddenly wandered off while waiting for their transportation. Prish believes she might have seen the girl traveling south, and after doing some investigating, Prish finds the girl on a cliff overlooking the area. She asks her why she suddenly wandered off, and she simply says she wants to stay in Alexandria and become a singer. She fears she will struggle, as she isn't a native of these lands and knows nothing of their music. Thinking about it upset her, so she wanted some time alone to think. She apologizes for causing all of you trouble. Prish is happy to hear that she's okay and reminisces about the time she met her friend Omiya for the first time, on a very similar coast with a beautiful view, crying like it was the end of the world. She had been trying to join the choir, but it turns out she was too nervous to sing in front of others. Prish gives the young girl advice that the world is a damn big place, and by spending all their time on small setbacks, they will never appreciate the bigger picture. Whatever she's going through, she knows that giving up on singing would be the end of the world she's been working toward. The girl wonders what to do if people hate her songs, and Prish assures her that Tiral's bursting with diversity, filled with people even from a different world. Being different will make her song special, she's sure. Prish's words shake off the young girl's doubts, and she asks if she can share a song with her. Then, you all take a moment to take in the sight and listen. Afterwards, you return the young girl to her father and say your goodbyes to them, hoping that one day she and Prish will see each other again. But Prish understands that it may never be. Before boarding the train to the dome, she admits she feels like a hypocrite, as Sareel Ja's words did have an effect on her, and she feels a little scared. After hearing Scoria the young girl sing, she began to miss Olmia and home, but she will never see it. Every time she tries to put it out of her head, she thinks of the Zillart brothers, clearly imposters, and proof they're living the same lie. And now with seeing Scoria singing and hoping to see her again, the feeling has grown further. What happens to them after they defeat Sareel Ja? Ashal understands how she feels, but has no answer. The future is what you make of it, and he intends to see all what the world has to offer, as he has not lost his adventurer's heart. Perhaps he will find a new calling along the way. As someone once said, the world is one damn big place. There may be something out there for the both of them. Prish is comforted by Ashal's words, but as soon as she feels any sort of ease, she begins to undergo intense pain and flicker purple light, revealing her electro core. There is now zero doubt on what she is, and it frustrates her. Ashal recommends they hurry to Alexandria to meet with Oblivion, and there you meet with the organization and say your goodbyes to your Vana'diel friends. They plan to stay in the area to be studied. Meanwhile, they're going to explore Jacques Terral until Sareel Ja rears his head once again. Some more time passes, and you're summoned back to Alexandria by Oblivion. They have finished their studies on Prish and Ashal and wish to share what they've learned. Currently, Ashal's core is in good condition and should not fail anytime soon. Prish, on the other hand, is barely holding on, and it's a wonder she hasn't already dissipated out of existence. They did try to mend her electro core, but another large shock like the one from before will be her end. Prish can tell that the news worries Gulu Jaja, and she promises she won't overdo things, as she wouldn't want to miss out on any more adventures. Ashal shares the sentiment, saying he couldn't imagine going on without her, as their comrade in arms, born of the memories of the same home. Moments later, Gulu Jaja is informed that Mamuk has come under attack by unknown enemies. You rush to the site of the battle to find an army of defeated echoes. One of the surviving guardsmen explains that all hope seemed lost, until a child-sized mage appeared and felled the army in a single spell. You're then handed another letter from Sareel Ja, announcing that the vessel for the king has been chosen. You are hereby invited to Juno for the coming coronation ceremony. Inside of Juno, you find another portal to another walk of memories. Prish and Ashal are confused as Sareel Ja has yet to appear to give his speech like before, as it's very clear the Mamul Ja loves to talk. Suddenly, Sareel Ja and the Shade appear as usual, but he's surprised to find you still in Juno, as he assumed you grew bored and forced the portal to the Walk of Memories yourselves. Whoever completed such a feat is no regular bandit or thief, but it matters little to him, as he believes they sealed their fate as soon as they entered his domain. Sareel Ja then moves on and announces that he's finally found the perfect vessel, and you stand no chance against such a primordial being. Ashal vows to stop Sareel Ja from harming this world or any other, but Sareel Ja then taunts him, hinting that he knows who Ashal is. Before leaving, he says he plans to celebrate the coming of his king by creating for you a veritable feast of powerful foes. He hopes you survive long enough to grovel at the feet of your new ruler, and then disappears. Prish is annoyed that Sareel Ja didn't even acknowledge she was there, and promises to make him never forget with her fists. But Ashal tells her she will do no such thing, and asks she leave the fight to you both, as she is in no condition to put herself in danger. She begrudgingly agrees and asks you both not to do anything reckless. You then enter the third walk of memories, Windurst. Immediately you face a fearsome foe, Shantoto, wizard and demon of the Federation. But to you and Ashal's surprise, what you thought was only a doll, conjured by the real Shantoto. Afterwards, Shantoto's voice echoes through the memory, congratulating you on defeating her doll and impressing her. You then dive further into the Walk of Memories and face off against Vana'diel's version of Alexander, and to Ashal's surprise, the Twilight God of Vana'diel himself, Promethea, culminating in the final battle.
You can worry about how I caught up to you later. We've got a dragon to slay! Come on, we'll be fine. Aren't we always?
Yes. Yes, I finally remember. Who I was. Who I am. Let us be done with Sareel Ja and his schemes. Our journey's end awaits. And with luck, a new beginning.
With Prish and Ashal's help, you face off against Shinryu Paradox and its final form, fused with the shade of Gulu Jaja, the Hollow King. During the battle, Ashal jumps in front of the group to take on a series of shattering blows, injuring him significantly. Thanks to him, you and the rest of your party are able to finish the fight and put an end to Sareel Ja's creation. And at the edge of Walk of Memories, the shade of Gulu Jaja kneels defeated, demanding a stronger vessel and blaming Sareel Ja for his failure. But Sareel Ja is unable to comply. Shinryu only came to power when Prometheus slew their world's greatest champion and brought ruin to the world. There is no stronger vessel. Prish is confused, as in her memory, Prometheus didn't slay anyone. Quite the opposite, in fact, as she was there personally. Ashal then now understands who or what he really is and explains. Prish's victory, alongside her adventure companion, was one of countless possibilities. After seeing Prish in the final battle, it all came back to him. Memories of a world where heroes prevailed over Prometheus, and one where Prish was the sole survivor against the encounter with Shinryu. Ashal explains he is the memories that echo within the rift between worlds, from past and future alike, from adventurers of their world and those not their own, all somehow intertwined and coalesced into the man who stands before them. Prish nods, understanding, and is happy part of her adventurer friend from Vana'diel exists somewhere inside of him. Moments later, the shade of Gulu Jaja dissipates alongside the Walk of Memories, transporting everyone back to Juno. But Sareel Ja refuses to give up and makes a run for it, saying he must return to the Walk of Echoes in the Rift. You and the others give chase, while Shantotto sees the exchange from afar. Sareel Ja arrives at the gate to the Golden City, planning to re-enter the rift between worlds, but Gulu Jaja is the first to arrive, stopping his plan. To buy time, he attempts to play into the ex-candidate's pride, kneeling and calling him king, but Gulu Jaja sees through it and has none of it. You and the others arrive moments later, and Sareel Ja begs, offering Prish to remove her anti-aging curse and to promise to send them to Vana'diel. But she and Ashal both agree they would rather see him brought to justice, as payment for the kindness Gulu Jaja and his people have shown them. This infuriates Sareel Ja, and he yells that such childish naivety can never be king, and the reason why you will play into the hands of people just like with Alexandria's queen. Trust is how you find yourself a tool and cast aside, but he will be a tool no longer and attacks your party. But your companions work together to easily take down the mad shaman, bringing him to his knees. He asks you why you rely on others when you have the strength to stand alone, and you give him your answer. And Sareel Ja complains that he will never understand. Prish advises him that if he lives long enough, he might find someone that will thaw his icy heart, and then he is taken into custody by the Landsguard. But Gulu Jaja wonders what his two new friends will do now that things are over, and Prish says she's kind of grown fond of the place. But things are interrupted when Shantotto appears, asking that you all meet in a more tranquil space. There, Shantotto reveals the truth of things. She is the real Shantotto, not an echo, or at least the doll created by the real Shantotto sent through the rift to your world. During her cross-rift research, she sensed the disturbance. She was being watched. So to end Sareel Ja's spying, she sent her current form to deal with him. She was surprised to see sections of her homeworld recreated so faithfully, And when she bumped into you and Ashal and Windurst, her hunger for a good fight overcame her. And Ashal isn't surprised at all, as Shantoto is known to get carried away when the mood strikes her. Now that things are over, Shantoto offers to take them back to Vana'diel with her, even though both their 11 cores are damaged, revealing that Ashal is now short on time just like Prish, after taking serious damage during the battle with the Hollow King. The two initially plan to use what time they have left adventuring in Hydaelyn, but you pitch another route instead of an adventure here. If they don't mind waiting, you would join them in Vana'diel, as knowing yourself all too well, you will most likely find a way to cross worlds eventually. They're ecstatic about the plan, and hopefully with any luck, by the time you arrive, they will have dealt with their electro problem. Afterwards, everyone goes to Tuliolal to have one last meal with Gulu Jaja. There, Prish gets to see Scoria sing for the people of Tural, working towards her dream. The two girls say goodbye to each other, and Scoria hopes that one day they will see each other again. With everything wrapped up, you meet in Juno. There, Shantoto helps Prish and Ashal open a pathway to Vana'diel. Shantoto gives her goodbyes, and even compliments you that you're a lot better than a certain adventurer from her world, before walking into the gate. Prish and Ashal say their final goodbyes to you and Gulu Jaja. Prish says she had a fun time, and she'll treasure the memories for the rest of the time she has left, and she will be waiting for you in Vana'diel. And Ashal finds it strange that he will soon live alongside the same adventurers whose memories created him. Strangers that maybe one day you too will cross paths with, and he hopes you show them the same kindness you've shown him, and go on an adventure to create new memories, all their own. But Gulu Jaja turns away embarrassed, and asks that they come back one day to share a meal again, as they are comrades. The two nod in acceptance and walk through the portal, disappearing into the rift. And as the three heroes of Vana'diel walk through the rift, Ashal thinks to himself how at the beginning of this journey he had nothing. Only a vague sense of duty guided him. And with each battle, they found their way forward. And he remembered what he was fighting to protect. Something more valuable than any treasure. And he understands that you fight to protect it as well. Which is why he knows you will meet again.